Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dustin Caps. Joining me after throwing the thumbs up, let me know we're live. It's Coach Michael Price.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to episode 3 of the Damn Good Average Bowlers podcast. Great to have you back. Mike, great to be back with you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
We're checking ourselves over here. And sorry for being late. We apologize for that. But things happen in life. Things happen in the bowling business. So we are adapting and moving forward. So we're still going to bring you a show today. We've got a couple things to talk about. We have rescheduled our main big dog guest, old Wes McElroy. But we still got a couple things to talk about. So how are we looking over there, Coach?
Here we are. I'm getting everything set up
We
on my
are.
end here, and that way I'm looking in. If anybody's got any questions or comments, I'm watching both the feeds pop right in.
Yep.
One thing I will tell you is we're trying to do StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't doing it on this feed right now, but hopefully in the future episodes we'll be using StreamYard. It's a really good software. I just want to give a good old plug for StreamYard.
I like that. It's actually very cool. So we're working on a lot of things for you, which we'll get into today. So I hope everybody's Christmas was good. How was it? How was your New Year's? Hope everybody was having a great time and safe and seeing family and all that good stuff. Mike, how was your Christmas, man?
It's anytime there's an off day, it's a great day. But no, I spent it with my mom, and my mom and I, that's all we got. And I actually did a week before Christmas. We did a surprise party for my dad's dad, my granddad.
Nice.
He turned 90 back in November.
Man, 90.
So 90 years young.
I love it. I'm not even half that yet, and I feel terrible. So, well, good, great.
Yes, sir.
The first thing I think that we're going to recap the most recent DGAB event, the Damn Good Average Bowler event, was the New Year's Eve house ball tournament. Now, I remember asking you when you had first told me about that, I was like, why would you do a house ball tournament? Not to question you, but to say, like, why would you think to put that on, and why would I, as a bowler, want to come and do that?
Well, in the past, I have done special types of tournaments like plastic ball only.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched other places run tournaments that do like the one ball challenge. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what, I haven't done this, and I'm always for the idea of throw it against the wall, see if it sticks. And we had 17 people come out on New Year's Eve. And I did a little different than I do with our sweepers, basically bowl 3 games, and we did a 4-person bracket. Kyle Harris was the high qualifier for that. He shot 601 with a house ball. But he fell short in the semifinals to Tim Lindsay, who ultimately, it came down, that was a great match. I wish I could have got it streamed, but we were on time constraints. But I will say that was a really good match. It came down to the 10th. Had Kyle struck out, it would have forced a roll off, but Kyle threw the first one, didn't get the luck on the second one, and lost by 6. Nathan Barnes came out, qualified second as a 2 seed, knocked out Anna Tankersley, the 3 seed, went against Tim in the final, and the final was 169 to 158.
Wow.
So the reason I did it with a house ball is because, again, I feel like, it evens the playing field.
It does, and it kind of, I guess, makes you get creative a little bit.
It basically takes the technology of the bowling balls out of play. It really comes down for you focusing on your skill.
Yes.
On your skill level.
So, if you are not like me myself, I'm just a regular league bowler, right? Was what I would refer to myself as. And I haven't thrown a house ball in I don't know how long, and I can't. Most of us are like, oh, I wouldn't throw a house ball. I'm not gonna wear house shoes. But when you throw those, how much different is it, man? If you just go back and you pick up a house ball, like the movement, because we're used to curving, spinning, hooking. What can you expect to happen or not happen from the house balls?
Well, you have to play. We did this on the house shot. So guys and gals were migrating really far right because on a house pattern, a lot of the oil is concentrated in the middle. And so the outside of the lane is a little bit drier, a lot more friction. So that's where they were wanting to play. And Kyle, the high games were interesting because the first 2 high games were like 230, which was Kyle and Nathan, top 2. And then the last one was Nathan with 192. And it's just, again, it takes the technology out of play, and it really brings in one's, personal skill. That's just what it is. And to me, that's, there's always been the age-long debate of like the performance bowling balls, how, and one of the things that they did based on their research is in August of 2020, they eliminated the use of weight holds.
Yeah.
From videos and certain articles I've read concerning this, a lot of the concern was the weight holds were made for the lower rev players.
Mm-hmm.
It was to help benefit them. So, a lot of people kind of got up in an uproar about it, but looking back on it now, I mean, I personally, as far as my experience watching, people bowl in league, I haven't seen a drop off in honor scores. And on the same hand, I haven't seen a gradual uptick either, other than what we've normally become accustomed to, as a whole.
I have a question with the house balls, and this
Mm-hmm.
popped in my head. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
So I throw 15 normally, 15 or 14.
Mm-hmm.
Do people usually throw? Am I going to grab the same weight house ball, or am I going to be using different weights?
Well, on this one, the heaviest we had was a 14, so that was the heaviest some people we were using.
Do you limited that in the house?
No, it's just the availability of
Really?
the balls. Yeah.
Ah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh, then you got to see what's available.
Yes.
I like that. Hey,
That's
so
what-
let's see what you can find. That's what we do here at the palace.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, make it
I
happen.
like it, man. It's
Make
almost
it
like a
happen.
scavenger hunt before you gotta toss the plastic.
That's right. Well, it is plastic. House ball is
I
plastic.
know, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
You gotta get the plastic before you can toss it.
Right.
So with that one, is there gonna be another house ball tournament?
I usually do these specialty type tournaments like around, sometimes it's in that, it's kind of whatever the schedule it falls in. Like sometimes I'll do like plastic ball only, house ball only. I did this on New Year's Eve because it fell in the right time.
Mhm.
New Year's Eve was on a Sunday
Yeah.
this previous, so about a week ago.
I know.
We're already 7 days in the
Yeah.
new year. His time's flying. But I usually base it on that. So it's like in between Christmas, like if Christmas falls like in the middle of the week or on the weekend
Mhm.
or the day before, I really base it on the bowling centers, like their time.
Right.
Whatever time they're available, I make do with what they've got to offer. And I'm very appreciative of that. Wes and company, they allow me these ideas of throwing against the wall and see if it sticks. So it's, again, if it works for them, it works for me, and I just try to do my best to make it happen.
I love it, and I have to say it this time, and I mean this in a good way. I think you throw more things against the wall to see if they're gonna stick than anyone. And I love it. I'm saying that in a good way.
Dustin, I'll tell you this, Daniel Porto, if you're in the bowling industry, you know who Daniel is. I was at a class getting my bronze level coaching certification. This was probably 5, 6 years ago now. And we were talking tournaments, and he was like, well, we got this going, and I was like, Daniel, why do you run so many? And it's not, and that wasn't like a wondering, like I was questioning him
Right.
on, like, that gum, you're running too many. No,
Yeah.
that's not the case. What I asked for, I said, what do you do it for? And he said, he looked at me and it's something I'll never forget. He said, Michael, as tournament directors, if we never, if we didn't if we tried to pick the perfect day,
Yeah. Yes.
we would never do tournaments. And that really stuck with me. And because there for a while, I was like, I used to be the person who would be like, I'm doing this tournament this day. They're doing it the same day as me. Why are they doing this to me? And that's me in my younger years of becoming a tournament director.
Mhm.
Now I'm at the point where it's like these scratch sweepers I'm doing. I basically tell people like, hey, here's the option. If something else is going on, go do that. Make your money, man. I mean, these are here just in case. If we're an option. I like being able to give people options. I think it's a great thing for the sport. Because there's places like Nashville and Atlanta, they're going to get bowlers regardless.
Yep.
Like some of the bowlers that were here in our scratch sweeper just a little bit ago, I was actually expecting them to go to Nashville because that's what they usually do because his season just started. Chris Tomlinson's season just started. And,
I feel this.
yeah, absolutely. And I looked at his Facebook page today. Dustin, he had 86 bowlers. And it's again, Nashville and Atlanta are hot markets. They've got tournaments going on all the time and all their bowling centers there. So again, it's just me putting something together. If it works, great. If it don't, then we go back to the drawing board and we try to fix something with it. And if it don't, then it's like, hey, we tried.
With those, it's like that with a lot of things, man. What I wrote down right now is and it's great to have something in your own front yard. And because when you first started talking about tournaments, different times, this and that, my first thought was I went back to my days in CrossFit because I love to compete in the comps and things like that. And putting one together, it's like, oh, you look at all the other ones, like, oh man, well, they're doing one here, they're doing one here, they're doing, you know, there's a strength comp here, blah, blah. But I like how you said that, and it's funny, we're not gonna get into it just yet, but the main topic today, the coach's corner, to me, it kind of ties in with that. He's like, hey, let's pick a day, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna throw it, we're gonna see how it goes, we're gonna provide the best product we can for people, and if they show up, they get to enjoy it, and that's exactly what you're doing here.
Absolutely.
So, and it's a two-way street for you being appreciative of Wes and, you know, AMF and Palace for letting you do that, but the other side, you are doing these things that are bringing a lot of people in, because we got stuff to talk about all the time, and there's still new things coming up, which we'll also get into today.
Right.
So it's a terrific two-way road, man. I like that.
Absolutely. Again, it's all about choice. It's all about choice, and I have learned, and as I've grown as being a tournament director it's first things first. You are never going to be able to provide a certain format, a certain payout, certain amount of entries, a guarantee or anything like that. You're not going to be able to please everybody.
Right.
And I have grown with that. It's just like, you know, and the way I advertise now, I tell people, hey, you know, and the thing about it is, I think another thing that really, really helps here, doing a better job of being supportive of everybody else that's running their tournaments. And say, hey, if you ain't coming to mine, go to that one, dude, go make your money. Girl, go make your money. Whatever the case may be, go do it. Because I know that there's certain ones that have different formats. The entry fee is a little bit higher, but the payout is a lot more. One of the things I have tried to adopt as far as philosophy-wise is I want to pay as many spots as I can, because I know that does make people happy.
Yeah.
That I can pay out more spots. Like today, we had 23, and I paid out the top 6.
I want to touch on something you said real quick,
Mhm.
being supportive of things and people and this and that, because it just ties into a big theme. If you watch the first 2 episodes, you've heard us talk. We talk a lot about surrounding yourself with good people, making a good environment, treating people good. You know, that simple, that basic.
Right.
But when you start becoming more supportive of your friends and those around you and those colleagues and things, it's amazing how that is going to come back to you so much. And I think of one specific time that really sticks in my head. This was way back when I was at Fort Benning. I was an instructor, and we were doing a mandatory fun day. If you know what that is at all, playing different sports. That's what we're doing all day.
Okay.
And the first one we start off, we're in the gym, and I'm not a basketball guy. I'm not built for basketball, nor have I ever really liked it. And I wasn't playing, and I asked one of the, some other dude, one of the guys that ran another section, I was like, hey, why are you playing? He's like, I don't like basketball, but I'm playing basketball here with the guys that do like it, so when we go outside and play football, hopefully some of them are gonna play with me because that's what I like.
Okay.
And that, to me, does that analogy make sense? He was supportive of them in that, and then you're gonna get support back. So I think just, in general, if you take anything away, just be supportive of things around you, and that's automatically gonna come back. Does that make sense? So,
Absolutely.
I just wanted to chime in on that.
Before we go on, Matt Clayton says, well, hello, peak male athletic form reporting to be. Appreciate the comment there, Mr. Clayton. Try to get you on one of these shows right here. I'm sure you got a lot to talk about bowling wise.
Oh, yes. But again, as Coach said, either one, you want to say hi, give a shout out, have a question, talk some smack, I will happily do that for you. You just relay what you like. Also,
I want to take a minute here as well to let everybody know, I'm looking at our subscribers here on the YouTube channel. We are at 225 subscribers, so thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Nice.
I really do appreciate it. It's just a wonderful thing. I know we got people watching on our Facebook Live too. So, but one of the goals with these podcasts too, I want to, again, I talked a little bit about it earlier with StreamYard. I'm trying to make it work because the good thing about StreamYard is I can go live on Facebook and go live on YouTube at the same time. And I got the whole comment section and I can tell where it's coming from. It's all in one. It's great.
That's cool.
So hopefully, again, like I said, we're going to be later on down the line. We're going to have our we're going to have a little bit more going. Like I said, we're evolving.
Yeah.
We're 3 episodes in, and this is the most awesome thing in the world. I really appreciate you guys. So
Absolutely. Thank you for doing all this stuff. Glad this one's stuck. So to close out on the most recent event, Coach, we talked about there might be another, you kind of gave me a little spoiler alert ahead, because the last thing was, can we look forward to anything else coming up, maybe outside the box?
outside the box, as far as like usually my formats are very short, but I'm working towards an idea of a certain type of tournament, and just to give everybody a little bit of a hint, longer format. So definitely spread out a little bit more. I've always wanted to do a tournament that it encompasses the way the PBA does their formats, but I know that that's not entirely possible,
Right.
just because of mitigating circumstances. And but I want to come up with something like that, and I am working on. I don't know if they understand or not. Like I mean, I know you see me. Like I literally come in here a lot of my nights, and I set up my computer in here. One, just in silence, so I can think. And it's funny because my mom, she always kids me. She's like, "Why don't you come home after work?" And I'm like, "Because I have side projects to work on." And you know, these side projects are on my time, which essentially I'm trying to provide for everybody else. And you know, one of the things that going in, I don't know if you noticed, I changed my hat around,
I did.
or my beanie around, I should say. Excuse me. But I've got my website embroidered on the back of my hat now, and I know I'm looking at the picture here, and I'm looking at you guys out there, and I know y'all. But what it says is www.damngoodaverage.bowler.net. And the website, that's another thing I've been really proud of. I'm sure we'll touch on that here in a minute. That came about in 2023 is I finally got somebody. First and foremost is getting the right people. I mean, you could be responsible for your idea, but having the right people around you is so crucial for the success of a brand or a business or whatever it is you're trying to do.
And that's absolutely true. And when you are passionate about something, you know you created something that you love, it can be hard to trust people with that. Sometimes it's hard to find the people, but like you said, if you're able to find the right people, you got to be able to let them, you got to trust them with your product to help in return, you know what I mean? But I don't know that I phrased that the right way, but yeah, that can be tricky. But the key people are crucial around you. So if you're fortunate enough to have found a group of friends, a support system or whatever that you work with, I mean, you're lucky, because you won't always have that. I mean, times up and down, but so just be fortunate right now that you have that, because that's awesome.
Absolutely.
So that's gonna kind of take us into our next topic, actually, which is this episode's Coach's Corner with our very own Coach Michael Price. He's got our New Year's edition to Being a Better You. Something we've been talking about a lot, and we touched on it earlier. I said we'd come back to it. And the theme for 2024 is going to be self-accountability. And you too, looking at both of them. So, I keep looking at this closely sometimes.
Yes, and yes.
But we talk about a lot, and this is not something where we are just talking out to people. We are mostly talking to ourselves first. You are just hearing the conversation, you know what I mean? So this is not at all being projected to people. This is what we are working on, and have noticed a lot of times that you can help anybody else with things, then that's what it's about, you know what I mean? So, Coach, why is self-accountability so important to you this year? And then just kind of tell us what it is, man, and then we'll get into it.
Okay. So 2023, I don't know if you had a chance to read my latest blog about 2023, but what I found at the end of 2023 was appreciation. You know, whether that's appreciation to the process, appreciation for the opportunity, appreciation for what you do, you know, being able to recognize those that help put you in the spot and put you in the best position to be successful. So 2023 was all about appreciation. I come into 2024 and I can't tell you how many of these reels on Instagram I watch, and when I go, and I still have my top priority auto detailing page. It's never going away, because there might be a day I might want to venture back to cleaning cars again. But I go in there and I look at that page and I see the pages I follow. It's nothing but like business, like it's everything's business. And it's like, you know, what are you doing to be your best? What are you doing to get to that point? And one of the most interesting things about it is I just now got back into reading books,
Mm-hmm.
and we're reading Atomic Habits. But I wanted to put a spin on it. Instead of me just sitting there reading it for myself, I was like, you know what? I got this idea. And, you know, I was like, you know, what can we do to, you know, there's some people that are auditory.
Mm-hmm.
And for those, their learning style is auditory. I was like, you know, why don't I just record myself reading a book? And the thing about it is, one, it holds me accountable to me reading books because I'm posting it out there on YouTube. And, you know, basically people are seeing, wow, this guy's really doing it. So that's self accountability. You have to do that for yourself first. Like if you're a manager, if you are if you're a captain, or you know, let's go one more here. Okay, so, and you can help me with this again. You being in the military, my grandfather, my papa, he was Navy, and he did World War II. I have his flag.
That's awesome.
And that right there, like and I'm getting off track here.
No.
My point is like his flag, like I told my mom, I said, if you're ever at home and there's a fire and you cannot get everything out, the only two things I want my dad's remains, because we got them in an urn, and I want my papa's flag. That's the only two things. I'll make do with the rest of it. I don't care. But when they gave us like the funeral director folded the flag, did exactly like the military. And he gave, my mom pointed, and what made me feel good is my mom pointed at me, and she was like, no, give it to him. And I was just, and I had a buddy of mine, and also in the military, he got me a frame, so I could put it in there. And that flag is right there, as soon as I open my door. It's the first thing I look at. It's like to the right, it's like, there's my papa right there with the flag. And I get to all that to tell you that, and tell everybody out there, holds me accountable.
Yep.
And I'm sure, like I said, again, and self accountability, I believe is the first start to truly becoming a more disciplined person.
Oh, for sure.
And if anybody's about discipline, it's definitely the military.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could.
Oh, yes.
Most definitely.
And discipline equals freedom. I don't know if you've heard of, I've talked about Jocko Willink before a little bit. He's a prior Navy SEAL commander. He's got a lot of books out there, TED Talk speaker, motivation speaker, all that stuff. One of his great books I've mentioned before is Discipline Equals Freedom. If you want to check it out, it's almost like a field manual of how to be disciplined in basic things. And it's not a cover to cover read. Like I said, it's almost like a manual, not a lame manual where you're like, oh, this is dumb. But you can go to the index and see what you're having trouble with in your self-accountability or discipline struggles, things like that. I always have trouble getting to sleep and getting up. There's a thing you can go to, boom, I can go to that. Better sleep habits. You go to things like, hey, eating discipline. So it's a very user-friendly book in that sense because, like you said, man, being self-accountable, that's going to make you disciplined. And when you're disciplined, that equals freedom in the sense of you don't have to dread these things. You don't like going to the gym. It's like, oh, you're dreading all day like going to the gym. You don't think about that because you know that, hey, when it's 5 o'clock, I go to the gym. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know that when it's Sunday at 3:30, 3:38, we started today. But you know when it's that time, it's like the podcast is starting. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So you don't have to worry about these things. It gives you freedom in that sense. That's where it's coming from.
Absolutely.
But going back to I had to get that out.
No.
I wrote it down up here as you were finishing up about the flag.
Right.
And I wrote it down right before you said it. The way I wrote it was, that's kind of your symbol of accountability. That's something that you can go to, that you can look at, that's going to give you that sense of, hey, this is going to help me hold up to my accountability. And those things are important. I think that you have that. Because they're going to help us with self-accountability. And we've got a lot of things. And again, you want to chime in anything that may help, any questions you have? Yeah.
Curtis right here says, looking great, guys. Sorry I couldn't be there. Curtis is not feeling good again today, guys. It's just really bad timing, but hey, hope you're feeling better, Curtis.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Stop smoking.
Yes. I guess we're gonna have to help him be more accountable.
Yep.
To stop smoking.
He's probably cussing at us.
He probably is. So to your point, you're wondering how does that tie into bowling? And I became like self-accountable. I'm not going to speak specifics, but my experiences. I have encountered individuals like talking about going to a tournament, okay, and just me personally, again, don't burn me at the stake for my opinion, or burn me at the stake. That's fine, whatever. That's your right.
You're right.
But if I will speak for me, if I am going to a tournament, I know that you're not going to win every tournament you bowl. You're not going to win every night you bowl league. More so, I believe you should have a winning mentality. And the book I'm reading, Atomic Habits, the first chapter talks about being 1% better every day. If you can make gradual improvements each and every day, it doesn't have to be, the one thing about it is we have this mentality where it's like we're instantaneous in our results. Like, I went to the gym, I did 100 crunches, why don't I have a six-pack? And it's like, that Rome wasn't built in a day. So the first thing in my being self-accountable, if I'm going to ask bowlers to be self-accountable, I have to be self-accountable for me. You have to start with yourself. So when you wake up in the morning, you look in that mirror, you got to be able to be accountable with yourself. Like, what can I do? What are the things that I can do? How can I be, as the book says, Atomic Habits by James Clear, how can I be 1% better? And to me, self-accountability is the start. And that ties into bowling. Like, how, I've had people come in and they're like, I'm really struggling to get over that 170 threshold. And the response is quite simple. How often do you practice? And for me, that is a way to be able to communicate properly to someone without making them feel like crap.
Yeah.
Instead of going, you know what, you suck and that's that. No, like, how about no, ask yourself the question, you don't suck, what can you do to be 1% better? Can you practice more than once a week? Can you practice even just once a week? It's just little things, and again, so self-accountability, and I believe that leads to being more disciplined, and when you're more disciplined, you go in with more of a winning mindset.
And yes, it is a much nicer way of getting to that point, because it made me think of, you cannot have change without change. I'm assuming we've all heard that at this point. Any adult, that's been around, you've heard that. Just like something else to come back to when you talked about it too, enjoying the process. I know we've all heard that. But the not having change without change, it sounds so simple, but to actually make change can be painful sometimes. There's lots of different types of pain. I don't mean just physical pain, whether you're, so what do we got?
Curtis. You were right. Sorry, but I'm sorry, I just had to get it.
I only said it because Mike did earlier,
Yeah.
so blame him twice.
And I'll give him a laughing emoji as a reply. Thanks, Curtis.
We love you, Curtis. Miss you, buddy. No, but there's lots of different types of pain, not just physical pain, whether you're back in the gym, chest and shoulders are shaking after your workout, pain of reading more. Maybe you don't feel like reading when the time you get to the book. Because I know I do audiobooks now. I don't mean to rabbit hole this, but I've done audiobooks the past several years now, especially road trips, driving here and back. I'm in the car 9 hours at a time, so I'll plow through books that way. But I love reading, but by the time that I would get to a point where I had time to read at the end of the day, I was too tired. And I don't mean for excuses, you always have excuses, but that's just what it was. I go home and I was like, man, I want to read, but my eyes are too tired, I don't want to be out as soon as I can. So I know that sometimes you don't want to be reading when you are, or if you haven't experienced that yet, you will have those times where you're like, I really don't want to read, but I've already said that I'm going to, and like we said before, it's 5 o'clock, time to read.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, totally forgot my rabbit hole on that.
We did this last night in our pregame.
But there's, I saw it, yeah, there's different types of pain, you know what I mean? So I'm sure you've heard this one, it's painful to be successful.
Yeah.
It's painful to be a failure. It's painful to be rich, painful to be poor, that's it.
And I believe that there's a couple of points you can do with pain of being successful. And there's a lot of times that I wish I had this mentality, and I am attempting to strive to 1% get there, and that is, it's be empathetic, but be realistic, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because if you do something, let's just say if you make a mistake, okay? So we'll put bowling, here you go. You roll a shot, you do not get a desired result that you were expecting. Whether it be you didn't strike, or you
Freaking 10 pin.
or you left a 10 pin, The first thing I'm doing is, if you come back and you ask me, hey, Mike, what are you seeing? Well, I'm watching, like, if you're having a problem with the way the ball hits the pocket, I'm watching how the ball is hitting the pocket for you, because contrary to popular belief, there are a lot of different types of hits on the 10, like your right-hander 10 pin, left-hander 7 pin, and it's like there's weak 10s, there's ringing 10s, there's like messenger 10s, and it's just, so a lot of the problem is like I'm hitting the pocket, but I just can't carry. I'm having trouble carrying, Okay, have you moved up on the approach? Have you moved back on the approach? Have you moved your feet left? Have you moved your feet right? Stuff of that nature. And you'd be surprised how many times I hit, well, I don't want to move.
And that changes, that change.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Pin drop. But no, but again, it's just like, okay, well, if you're not willing to change, your result is not going to change.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
That's it.
Mhm.
Same thing, expecting different results.
Funny story. I have had experiences in the shop where I have drilled equipment for customers that did not like the reaction, which, okay, cool, no problem. This is my younger years, so you gotta understand, look, one thing I've learned being in the bowling business, the pro shop business, for 17 going on, April will be 18 years. I have grown in the fact where it's just like, again, do I have any control over how someone thinks and feels about it? No, I don't. I can only try to help them. And it's the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. So I went out and I helped this person, and all I did was move their feet. Simple, just nothing, like I didn't change their hand position, I didn't change how they held the ball, I moved their feet. They proceeded to roll the next 6 strikes in a row. I'm thinking, great, it's working, and this is after I got done drilling the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They come back to me just a few short minutes later after they're done, and I'm sitting there in my mind, again, when I'm young, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they're gonna say thank you, they're gonna be like, this is great, I rolled 6 strikes in a row, this is awesome. No, I don't like playing that line. I don't like playing that line.
I don't like eating chicken and rice and stay skinny.
I'm just gonna leave
But
it.
if I want to stay skinny, I'm gonna eat chicken and
I'm
rice.
just gonna leave it at that. Again, I'm not saying anything bad or anything.
Not
I'm
saying
just,
skinny.
yeah, no. I mean it.
Exactly.
But it's like, again, and I guess it goes back to that lack of self-accountability.
It's funny, actually, kind of same story. I don't know if you remember when you had me move a couple weeks ago. I was up there by the counter, and this was before we'd done any podcasts, I think. I think at the time you were just doing the spare challenges, the hot wings spare challenges. But I'd already been planting the seed of, hey coach, hey coach, hey coach.
Right.
And you come up and said, hey, move your feet 2 boards right, move your ball 1. So basically that. And I did that, and I was so far outside, I felt like I was basically laying the ball down almost right on top of the gutter, like all the way out there. And it was scary. Hey, I was scared. I even came back, but I moved, and I know that I hit like 3 in a row. I hit 3 strikes in a row, and it's like, boom, gorgeous line, right?
Right.
But it was, I think I even came back and told you, like, it was so scary. It was so scary out there, but it was awesome. It was like, I didn't like being out there, but it was new kind of territory for me. But it's like we figured out, I like striking. You know what I mean? I was willing to take the exhilaration of, right there on the line and hitting that. So, I mean, that's how I kind of can relate it. I didn't like that line either, but it got me in the pocket.
Yeah.
I mean.
And again, that's the thing about it with, bowling equipment. Bowling equipment is not made one and the same. There are different specifics each bowling ball is intended for, and the manufacturers will tell you this. And again, it baffles me. But as long as I have been in the business, it's just like, I like to think it more so rolls off my shoulder now more than it did in the beginning.
So, am I interrupting?
No.
Okay, that's actually a great lead into some of the things that we want to talk about that can accompany being self-accountable. These things can kind of are enablers to keep you from being accountable per se. and it kind of leads into this, is being able to cut ties with those who don't, or being willing to not work with them as much. Like, you have to talk to people, work with people, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But you also have choice over who you spend more time with and engage with and choose to interact with, you know what I mean? So it's being able to be like, hey, they're not going down the same route that I'm wanting, they're not holding themselves accountable, they're not doing things that they wanna do, those types. I'm not, you know what I mean? You can cut ties with those people. It doesn't mean that you can tell them you have to piss off and all that stuff, but hey, I'm choosing to spend my time being productive on the things that I want to be. I don't have time to not be productive. You have to be willing to do that. That can be hard sometimes.
It's for example, it's like, I'm not as an avid wrestling fan as I was back during the Attitude Era, and everybody watching this, if you're in my age range, you know what I'm talking about. But recently CM Punk came back to WWE, and it's funny because he cut his first promo back on Monday Night Raw, and you know what he said to the camera? He said, "I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money."
At least he was honest.
And again, there's one or two things you can do. You can hate on a person for speaking what they feel is the truth, or you can hate on them and respect them, or you can just respect them. And to be honest, that is, again, becoming more self-accountable. It's like, you know what? You might hate him, but guess what? He's being real with you. And again, with self-accountability, that becomes with realism, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was funny you mentioned CM Punk too.
You're welcome, Curtis. See, he said CM Punk. Yeah, you're welcome, Curtis.
Oh man, one of the biggest clowns to ever get in the octagon.
Well, he was there to make money.
Yeah.
Not friends.
I didn't say he was I don't know that he made money. Anyway, we'll move on.
So, yeah.
Maybe we'll come back to that.
Hey, that'll be something we can do on Cap's Wisdom.
Yes.
One night. We can talk about that.
We'll talk about that. But also being done or not allowing mediocrity.
Yeah.
Being mediocre.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to say with that, but it's pretty simple.
I had a phone conversation with Curtis yesterday. And one of the things I said, and I probably said it to where some people would probably take offense to it, but I said, I don't want to be around mediocre-minded people anymore. And just because I said that, I mean, look, if you take offense to that, that's none of my business. I have goals for myself, and again, in order for me to obtain and reach those goals, we go back, again, our main idea for this is self-accountability.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be self-accountable. So, and it's one of the things I'm really trying to incorporate into my bowling is it's just, again, like, being able to, again, one of the things about it too is letting things roll off your shoulder. And everybody knows that has seen me bowl. Dustin, they understand completely that I don't like bowling a good game and being on the losing end of it.
Yeah.
Let's just call a spade a spade. But once I have regathered my composure, it's like, you know what, Michael, handicap leagues are a part of, no, I'm serious, they're a part of the existence. It's what it is. You just gotta be able to, like, now at the point of holding myself self-accountable, I am asking myself, what do I need to do to close that part of the equation out of my head so that it does not affect me and my performance?
Funny you should mention that, Michael.
It's like we're on the same wavelength.
Because actually the very next one we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
and the next two kind of go together. And Curtis, I wish you were here for this one, bud.
Yeah.
You know, Curtis, our guy that's out today, if you're not familiar with him or seen episode 1, very impressive dude. And not even like, I don't want to say he's not an avid bowler because he clearly carrying a 198, almost 200 average. But how many years, couple years, about 2 years, I think he said, to take his average from 98.
You should confirm this in the comments.
Curtis, yeah, send us out, buddy. But the big thing with that, remember when I asked him, and the first thing he said was, getting out of my own head. Mm-hmm. Getting out of my own head, and then getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
Physically. Get out of your head, get out of your way.
Yeah.
That's a big thing too, like you're thinking, with that, that's exactly what you said, how do I get out of my own way and allow myself to perform to the level that I know I can. It can be hard to do sometimes.
And one of the things that helps me is a lot of self positive talk. It's like if I leave
Self-affirmations are
yeah,
huge, man.
exactly, absolutely. And that's another thing too. It's you can do this stuff without being egotistical.
Yeah.
And what I mean by self-talk is like talk to yourself. You don't have to say it out loud because again, if you like if I spoke about things that was inside my head trying to keep myself positive, people would think, oh my God, what an ass,
No, I think it makes perfect sense though, and it is. It's like the self-affirmations, and I don't know if there's any old school SNL watchers out there, but Stuart Smalley.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember him. I'm good enough,
Mm-hmm.
smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah.
I really don't care about the last part anymore. I don't care if you like me or not.
Right.
But I'm good enough, I'm smart enough. You have to tell yourself that. That's a program from the Army Master Resiliency Program. It's called RTR,
Mm-hmm.
Real-Time Resilience. When you're going into something, and now this is for like as yourself, because you are, our local pro, basically a pro bowler. You know what I mean? To the level that not many of us have. So you have that experience, skill, knowledge, all those things.
I just want to correct you personally.
I know you would probably.
I am not a pro. I am just a damn good average bowler.
To me, you're a pro.
Well, I appreciate that. Oh, and to your point, you asked
Yes.
Curtis for the question.
5 years.
5 years to get there consistently. This last season was the first time I held at least a 196 average through the entire season.
That's impressive, brother. Good job, man. Thanks for the info.
Yes.
But thanks for the correction, a-hole. But you know what I mean. But you know what I mean, right? You have that depth of knowledge. You have that established skill set to know that when you're walking into a game, hey, I know that I can bowl a 300 game because I'm speaking as Michael Price. Because you bowled, what, 23 of them so far? 23 perfect games, however many 800 series. He knows that he can do those things. Other things that you know that you've practiced for. This is not RTR, real-time resilience, is not for winging it. I'm not gonna wing it. This is something that when you know that you are good enough, or you've done the work, or you studied for the test, or you're ready for the interview, or whatever it is, before you break the plane to that door, or the approach, or whatever it is, stop and tell yourself, I am good enough for this. I'm smart enough, I've studied, I know what I'm talking about, I know what ball I'm throwing, I know how the ball moves, I know the history of this company, I know who I'm gonna be talking to, I know these things. That's your self-affirmations, that's your self-talk, that's your real-time resilience. When you are prepared and ready, again, that's not for winging it, but if you know you have the ability, then tell yourself, you gotta be your own biggest hype man, because if you're not, who the F is gonna do it?
Nobody.
You've gotta be your own hype man.
Nobody's going to do it.
But that's
But
not,
you.
yeah, absolutely. But it gets contagious when you're doing it correctly, because like you said, there's no room for ego. That's not what we're talking about. Oh, I'm the great. No, dude, you're not getting nothing from me or anybody with that. You know what I mean? But when you show that you're willing to put yourself out there, and especially when you're able to be vulnerable, I think people see that, and that's human nature, and people are naturally drawn to that. I think. Does that make sense? Does that flow? So, but.
One thing to remember though is a strength that I've really tried to pride myself on is to minimize vulnerability. I'm not saying
Yes.
I'm not saying not be vulnerable,
Sure.
but minimize your vulnerabilities
Sure.
because
Yes.
again, for example, how do you handle trash talk? And if somebody knows that's a really good trash talker, if they know that they have a chance to get in your head rent free, they will take that opportunity.
Yes, and I think that with vulnerable, kind of what I was thinking in my head with that was, I guess maybe almost funny to what you're saying is taking loss, not the high road, when I'm trying still being classy when you losing with grace. You know what I mean? Because that's not easy to do.
Well, I'll be self-accountable here. I have not been very graceful when I've lost here lately. I'll just go ahead and say it to you guys. Like, I'm working on it, okay? I am working 1% to be better, to be in a better sportsmanship and being a better loser, okay?
Self-aware, self-regulate,
Exactly.
like we talked about.
Oh, and Curtis left a comment here. He says, when in doubt, cuss at the ball until it works right. Well then, Curtis, I guess you're cussing at yourself until it gets right because you, my friend, are responsible for that ball reaction.
No, I'm with you, Curtis. I'll cuss my ball out, buddy. I'm with you, dude.
I just want everybody to know this is the kind of stuff I hear in the shop. Oh, I'll just cuss at the ball, no problem. Okay, cool. Moving on.
We are moving on to the last one for this. It doesn't have to be the last one. The last one I have written down is having a realistic gauge on your current capabilities and limitations.
Right.
Again, if you're familiar with the military and all, that's something you've heard all the time. Okay, what's the capabilities and limitations? We want the winner's mindset. We want the winner's mindset to win all the time. We have the capability winners, right? But with being aware of your realistic capabilities and limitations, that can, I think, help you when you're going into a game, because we were talking about this a lot last night, and I had this thought that I wanted to wait today to share with you, with the limitations, right? Because I know that we kind of, not that we went back and forth, but it's like, hey, you're gonna go in and say that like, I'm gonna do my best, or I just hope to place, you're selling yourself short already. Because you're getting in your way essentially, and not letting yourself have the mentality to win, right? But I would just like to say with that, the way that you can look at the limitations. I'll use myself for example right now, right? With my bowling, about a 160 average in league, and then limitations, we can come down to the, I think tangibles is right, where we have things that we're gonna get some data, right? I know that say the 10 pin, I am about, in a 3-game league, I know that I'm usually good for about 60% of my 10 pins, right? And then other ones, a little better with the singles in the middle, so I'm usually like 80% of those, right?
There you go.
And as you like to say, and we all like to say now in tournaments, strike and spare derbies, strikes are for show,
Spares are for dough.
spares are for dough. So I know that I can always pick up spare. I picked up some cool splits, things like that. I have the ability, and I'm fully aware of it. But realistically, I'm about 60% this, 80% this, right? And so you can always do better. You're gonna push to get better. But I think that's something that you can measure when looking at your capabilities and limitations. Does that make sense? Being aware of those things. Instead of just blindly going, I'll move from rock today. You have like, hey, this is things that I'm working on. But especially if you're working on them though, again, like you said, there's things you can do. How often are you bowling? Okay, well now I want to get that 60% 10 pin conversion up to 70%, then 80%, then 90%, or even 61%.
Yeah,
Like you said, 1% of the day.
61% and 81%.
Right, is throwing more at them and you spending a day like, hey, today I'm just throwing 10 pins, a game of 10 pins. What are you doing to do that? So that's just the way though of looking at limitations in a non-negative way. Is what do you need to make better about your game, or what are your current weaknesses in your game, or things like that. That make sense?
Absolutely. Crystal clear, my friend.
That was what I have for capabilities and limitations.
I couldn't say it no better myself, Dustin.
We're getting towards the end, I think, for what we have right now. If anybody's watching and you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, want to let us know how your Christmas or New Year's was, how anything is going, let us know. Curtis, thanks for tuning in there, buddy. We hope your kiddies are okay. Drink water.
And stop smoking.
Yeah. What we'll move into next, Coach, I want you to talk about this. You touched on it a little bit before, which I think is really cool, the book that you're reading. So with the Damn Good, I believe we're branching out now. So we've got Damn Good Average Bowler, which you're watching right now, episode 3. Now we have also Damn Good
Average Reader.
DGAR.
DGAR.
So I know we've talked about it a little bit, but what gave you that idea? Like, when did your first thought occur to that?
Okay, so here's how this came about. Again, as I spoke a little bit earlier in our episode, I wanted to get back to reading books. I cannot stress enough to everyone that the Damn Good Average Bowler idea came from Michael reading books. I'm not even kidding. There is the first book I ever read when I started that journey back in 2021, like I've talked to you about in previous conversations. The first book I read, and it was actually, Wes, he actually gave it to me. It says, "Do the effing work."
Yeah.
And I'm doing like the censored version because it just says it right out. That's the title of the book. And it is about these 4 guys who got together and built a company out of when they were in college. They were starting out, they rented this house, okay? And it wasn't like oh goodness, the words are eluding me, not a sorority, but a fraternity, thank you, fraternity. They rented this house and they thought it was a fraternity house. It ended up being their starting foundation for they built their business. And
Nice.
each of them had like separate responsibilities, but they all got together after this company became as successful as it was, and they all branched out they all moved to 4 different areas in the country, and they became this one big old, they expanded nationally.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that stays vividly in my head, it says, whatever the idea is, throw it against the wall, and if it sticks, great. If it don't, go back and reimagine and readjust your trajectory. I know that's a big word for the day, your trajectory. So I went, the gears started turning. And again, like I said, I shot my highest 800 set that later on, probably literally a month and a half after I started reading. I mean, I was reading, I read that book, and the second book was How to Be a Badass. And I may not have said that right or anything, but it's basically just, it's very motivational. And it was just like reading through it, you know, and this lady, and the author slips my mind, maybe somebody can tell me the name of it, they know what I'm talking about. But I read those two, and this is when the gears started, you know, clicking in my head. It was like, wow, like I've never been this creative in my life. Mm-hmm. So thus, that's where, after rolling that set, and my buddy Socks, he's responsible for this right here, said what he said. I came up with this, had an old girlfriend doodle it, and here's the logo right here for y'all. Expansion onto that. Damn Good Average Reader came from my teammate Kyle Harris. I made a post on Facebook. I said, hey, I want to do this idea where I'm reading books in order to hold myself accountable for reading books. And I was coming up like Michael's Book Club. I was kind of coming up with the most generic freaking names in the world. They were pretty bad. It's like when they were, you know, it's like when Stone Cold Steve Austin was talking about, you know, names they were giving him, like Fang McFrost or Ice Dagger or whatever. And it's just like, I'm coming up with like the most generic stuff. And Kyle was coming in and he goes, I just don't understand why you're not just going to call yourself the Damn Good Average Reader. And I was like,
that's beautiful.
I was like, you know what, like, and the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal with that, and if you guys want to join me on that journey, if you're someone that is the kind of person that you don't like to read, like specifically turn the page and look at the words yourself, but you like following along with somebody and you're auditory, come over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. I'm currently sitting at 11 subscribers, which I'm extremely thankful for. It all starts with 1 and it builds from there. Again, 1% every day. Come over there, subscribe. I am working on another logo right now for Damn Good Average Reader, and Abigail, I don't know if she's watching our live feed, but I'm working with her. She is putting it together for me, so I'm just waiting on a message here on Facebook, and hopefully I'll have that up. I've got a Facebook page, I've got the YouTube channel, I've got that up. I got 2 videos on there now. I finally figured out a way with StreamYard where I could just record me reading and then upload it.
Very nice.
And I feel like I could do that, because one of the problems I was having when I was doing it on Facebook Live is the streams were very grainy for people, and it was going in and out. So I was like, I'm just going to record. There's going to be no interruptions. Only thing I don't like about it is I can't get you guys in there to read along with me in case you have any kind of questions about what I think, whatever. But I do upload it just to get content on there. So if you guys, my next plan, Chapter 3 is going to be sometime this week. I do have comfort of my own home, and I'll get that posted. But that's where we're at with that. Like, it's just an expansion onto the Damn Good brand. Our good buddy Curtis here, he's actually asking me a question.
Shot, Curtis.
Well, I think you know we were gonna ask our guest this question. Now Curtis is pulling it on me.
Nice.
Says, Mike, what do you feel like your biggest contribution to the bowling world, no pun intended, in Huntsville? Oh my God.
Well done.
Woo, my biggest contribution. Oh, that's a tough one, my friend. Oh my goodness. What do I feel like my biggest contribution is? Well, I feel like my biggest contribution is I feel like I have brought more eyes onto the game by way of the leagues I've done, still doing, the clinics I've hosted and done, us doing this podcast, running the sweepers, options, just getting people involved into it. And I mean, there were people before, there's people before me that have done everything and probably more than I have. But I think my biggest contribution is being able to get entry-level novice bowlers into believing that they are more than enough league worthy. I think that's my
yes.
biggest contribution. If I had to pick, there's a lot of them I feel strong about, but I think, I feel like I have again, not tooting my own horn here, but I feel like I have a way of being able to connect with someone that doesn't feel like confident about themselves doing this. And then it's like when you go up to them, they're like, well, you work in the pro shop? And then, you know, I've had people look at me and go, well, why the hell are you talking to me? No, you're the one I want to talk to, because again, you are the one, and again, if you enjoy it, what's that gonna do? You're gonna go and tell your friends, or you're gonna take your friend, he or she's gonna tell their friends and their friends, and it just, again, what'd you say about it earlier? You're being self-accountable.
Yeah.
And if anything, that positivity and self-accountability, that stuff is contagious and it rubs off. So if you provide them a good experience, they're gonna wanna come back. And I've been very fortunate in the amount of time that I've worked for Bowling World under Jeff McCorvey, and working in bowling centers before that, like Parkway, Monarch, Playmore, in the business is just being able to I'll just to sum it up, being able to cultivate the game. I'll say it like that. And going to you here, he says, and Dustin, what would you like to accomplish / contribute to bowling?
Accomplish, that's easy. I want a 300 game. I want to sanction 300 because I want one of these.
Mm.
I'm a big ring guy. I've made a ring for, not these are my cool guy bling stuff that goes for the air. But I've got a deployment ring for each deployment in the military. I've got significant rings made for those, so I love my bling like that. I want to earn a 300 ring. That's what I want. And actually, I'll tell you guys this now in case you see it happen. My two boys, they're 10 and 12, they bowl here a lot. My 7th graders bowled in the high school team this year, so we're all bowling nerds, and y'all are great to them here. This is our home, it's a great place. We've made a gentleman's bet, my two boys and I. The first one of us to bowl at 300, we have to rip our shirt off and run up and down the lanes.
Whatever you do, run left and right. Don't run north and south. Because here, just to let you know, because I want to save you from it. If the ball has not come back and you go over the foul line in any time, it's a foul.
Oh!
You have to wait for the ball to come back before.
Oh, good to know.
Hey, look, whatever you said right here, your teammate says LOL.
Yeah, buddy. I'll see him in a couple hours.
Tammy right here, she says, you have definitely helped give people love bowling. You have done that for me. You've given me confidence in myself to know that I'm the only thing standing in my way. Thank you so much, Tammy. That means a lot. That really, really does mean a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's exactly what you're after. So that's success, brother, you know.
Dustin, that's the thing, man. I think one of my best feelings in the world is like, when, again, the novice, beginner, recreational bowler comes up to me and says, hey, Mike, that ball you drilled me, I rolled my best game with it. No, it don't get no better. It gets no better than that.
I think for accomplishment, for me, I'm not trying to dodge that one. Or no, excuse me, I did accomplishment. What's the other contribution is what I need to cover. I think really you started to say it well, and I think the way that I can use my strengths for bowling, because again, self-aware, and you know what you know what you don't know. I'm at an age to where that's exactly that. Hey man, I know what I know what I don't know. I'm never gonna try to tell you something I don't know. So using my strengths, I think maybe doing like we're doing here, exposing the sport as much as we can, and exactly like you said, bringing in as many of those novices as we can, turning them into, beginner league bowlers, into better league bowlers. It's an evolution of everything, but it's getting those people in first to see how great the sport still is. It's one of the most consistent ones out there. Things change, yes, but it's still 60 feet to success and the 10 pins that you get a ball to knock them down with,
No, Dave Ryan.
Yeah, like that. And like Curtis said, it was something else we're going to talk about. He said it before, is one of the things that's been cool in his tenure here is seeing 2 and 3, now the 4th generations of family that are coming here. because they've gotten to know, I won't say us yet, because I've only been here less than a year, but you guys and everybody else in the Palace. And it's, again, it's a home, it's a safe place. You know everyone, they're all great to you. You like going there, you feel welcome there, you know? And you want to get better there, and you want to bring your kids there, that type of stuff. So if I can help contribute in getting our message out, our exposure to bowling, I think that's the best contribution I could ask for, if that makes sense, if that's an answer that is worth sticking to the wall.
And he's also willing to help me grow my brand.
Oh, yeah, that's a given, for sure. We're building the damn good.
I say that facetiously, but I really mean it, because again, look, and here's another thing too, okay? Again, if you want to, one of the things to help you contribute to being a better bowler besides self-accountability, put yourself around the people that want to be successful like you. I speak that from the biggest amount of experience I can tell you guys. My Monday night team, we are the way we are because we hate losing more than we like winning. And again, we are 9 times out of 10, not here lately, but you know, stuff, again, life happens. We're on the same page mentally too. We're talking to each other. We're putting the plan together. We know what we got to do to execute, to make it, to help us, put us in the position to be the most successful. And again, put yourself around people. If you want to be a successful person, put yourself around people that are successful.
I wrote this down, I was waiting to come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
You are the sum of your 5 best friends. Again, we're all adults, I'm sure you've seen that somewhere, but it's true. Surround yourself with the people that you want to be like, or the things that you want to learn, or those, or not, because you show me who there's so many people that have said it, but it's like, show me your 5 best friends, I'll show you your future. That's everything. And
Yeah.
if you ever want to, I don't want to rabbit hole this huge on the mentor thing, but I learned this way back in my 20s was, if you want to learn about something, get better about something, you got to go be around that people to do it. And being aware. This is a weird one that I was conscious of even back in my 20s. I was working at this place called the Downtown Athletic Center, top floor, really nice place, venues, this and that. I would work a lot of like big company parties and a lot of weddings. They do a lot of weddings up there. And I had no interest in getting married at the time. I wasn't serious with anybody. But even back then, because I'd already heard that and come across at the time, was learn as much as you can about things. And I was like, well, I know I'm going to get married one day. Right. And when I do, it's going to be cool to know that this amount of food that they just served, that costs $1,000. You know, and this band they're doing here, I was learning about this stuff instead of just pouring the water and serving on butter. You know, so it's the same thing. Now that, gosh, man, since I've been with you guys here, I was considered myself decent bowler before. Now I know how bad I am because there's so much to learn. My bowling IQ, it's like, it's almost overwhelming. It's like when I started teaching myself about finances and financial intelligence, it's like, there's so much I don't know. The more you start learning about something, it's like, now I know how much I don't know, which is insane. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, if there's something that you're wanting to get into, if you've identified something that you're either passionate about, curious about, you want to get better, well, guess what you got to do? You got to go be around it. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I found with just about anything out there, I've done a lot of 5Ks to like strongman things to CrossFit to triathlons to jiu-jitsu matches to all different types of that, the bowling comps, all different types of things. And if you show up being willing to put out to the event, those people there that are used to it, that are regulars, that are the house pros, pro shop runners, not a pro, you know what I mean? But those people that are established in that, they are gonna see that you're willing to, and bring you into the fold, and they're gonna help make you better. That's been my experience and just about everything I've done like that. So that's what I found. You just gotta be willing to put yourself out there and try it.
Curtis left us a comment. He says, quote unquote, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name.
Yes, they do.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, brother.
We're giving away our age again. And Tammy right here says, wanting something to do with the hubby brought me in. Your entire staff at the Palace keeps me coming back every week.
Awesome.
Wes, if you're hearing that, that's what Tammy said. So.
And one last thing I wanted to mention, we'll kind of wrap up here soon. But I had written earlier, you had talked about watching a lot of the on social media, like the reels and the page. You saw you had commented like, yeah, my entire page, like my entire algorithm is like motivational things, how to win, this and that. So in my podcast a lot, I will talk about you have to practice these things. Like we just talked about now, you want to get better at bowling, you gotta practice. You want to get better at throwing a big ass heavy stone, you gotta practice. You want to get better at running, well, you gotta practice. You want to get smarter, you gotta study. You want to get better at reading, you gotta read. So I found that I was always telling people you need to practice. You want to get better at practice. You want to get better at regulating how you feel from handicap things. Well, I identify the time that's like, I'm pissed off, now's my time to practice.
Yep.
So I wanted to, I realized one day, it's like, okay, so you can practice these things on your social media as well, and you surround yourself again with those 5 friends we talked about also, that ties in too, right? So if your algorithm, if your Instagram, Facebook, whatever, is all, you know, T&A and funny things and this and that and chicks and cred, it's an inside joke if you know what I'm talking about, and those types of things, you're not doing yourself any service. You're actually, I think, doing yourself harm. But you can at least even it out. I'm not saying you have to, you can only follow like Jordan Peterson, Gary Vee, and all these things, but have a healthy amount of those to where you're getting more stuff like that in your feed than you are of the crap, of just the hot chick, of just the this or that.
You are your environment.
Yes. So practice with a healthier environment on social media type of thing. It's a work in progress for everyone, man. I'm not sitting here telling you that mine's totally like that, but I will say that it's the majority like that. And one thing that I do all the time, I'll wrap this up here, sorry, but I save a lot of reels that of dudes talking about, dudettes, whatever. People talking about things that can articulate it better than I can, or things that I've said, or things that I'm working on, right? I save those reels, and then I'll go back and watch them. Or if I'm talking to somebody, I don't know how many times, I'm talking to somebody, and you're telling me like an issue or something, this is like, check this out. Boom, pull it up, and like, right there.
Yeah.
Because it's so well said, and then it's immediate access when you're struggling with something, right? Like just for an example, one of them is, I forget the guy's name, we're forgetting everybody's names tonight. He's like, the rule in the house, this is like a clip of a TED Talk or something like that. Yeah. And he's talking about, we have a rule in my house. If something goes wrong and you're not happy about it, you can bitch, moan, and complain for 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes. But after that 5 minutes, the complaining is done, and it's time to move forward and figure out what we're gonna do about it. That's it.
I like talking about TED Talks. There's a lady, again, we're bad at names today. She's doing this one. She said that her and her husband have this system where after they come home from work or whatever, and it's like, I've got 100%. And if they both say, I've got 100%, they're gonna do the stuff they need to get done together. But they're gonna have them days we come home and you've had a bad day at work, or you know, again, bowling, we had a bad night at bowling, whatever, and you look at each other and you're like, I've got 30%. Well, I've got 40. So basically it's one of those things, is like, what do we both have? Do we both have enough to get to 100%? So it's like, if one says, I've got 30%, the other person's gonna look at you and go, you know what, that's cool, I got the other 70. And again, it's like, you know, that coincides with teamwork or any, and it's just, these things that you watch, like, one of the things that just, when my gears started clicking and everything, it was just like, how much does this tie into any single thing, every single little thing we do every day? Whether it's bowling, whether it is a DIY project, or whether it's doing, you know, Cap's Wisdom podcast, or this podcast. It's amazing, again, how little a detail you can find that'll fit into what you're doing to try to get better. It's just incredible, and that's one of the things that pulled me towards it. You know, one of the things too that really got me, you know, when I was doing car details, one of the things that really got me like super stoked to want to clean somebody's vehicle was the Detail Geek on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, you watch him, how he clean, you watch his process, and you're like, man, you know what, I can do that. And then you go out there and you do it, and it's just, again, same thing. I tell these people all the time, like, and this is one of the things about being self-accountable, and one of the things about turning, you know, quickly going back to the subject of bowling. I will tell you, you are the only one that can help you succeed to getting that 300, or you can hinder yourself with how you handle things to not bowling the 300. So again, it's just like, and then again, when I say that you've got to be positive, look, anybody knows how some days it's tough to be positive more days so than others.
Mondays.
I get it. I completely get it. But what I'm saying is like, it starts with you being able to give yourself a chance. And at the end of the day, if you don't think you have enough of what it takes to even give yourself a chance, take a day off. It doesn't hurt. Mental health is important, no matter what the cause is. And that's another thing too, that is very, that's very close to here with me, is mental health. Men's mental health especially. Again, it ties into your everyday routine. And again, bowling is no different. Like, put in the work, do what you do, but first and foremost, if you're gonna get 1% better every day and improve upon, you gotta look after number one first. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta know when the batteries are low and the batteries need to be recharged. Because it's like, when we got towards the end of the year, we had 1 week to go in league. Dustin, I took 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
And if this was me 20 years ago, regardless of how I felt, I would never miss a day of bowling. I never would. But now it's different. It's like, again, I look at it and talk to myself, you know what, I got 30. Where's the rest of the 70 coming from? It's called me being accountable for myself, taking myself home, going to bed, eating a hot meal or whatever, meditating, relaxing, doing whatever I gotta do to reset my batteries so that I can come back in a week and get back into the swing of things. And that's what I did. I took that whole last week off. I didn't bowl 3 weeks, and now I come back out the gate. I bowled really good last Wednesday night, despite the result I discussed with you. But I bowled really good. I was pleased with that result. And it was just like, the break did me good. So again, mental health, take a break if you need to. It's okay. They can find a sub for you, or they can take your blind.
Life will continue on. And it's funny, I think this will really be a great way to close out this. And I wanted to come back to, when you don't get that 1% better a day that you had intended to, you have to be able to get over that. You have to be able to forgive yourself and move on. I'm speaking of a sense of, you had put a plan in place, you know what you're gonna be doing, you're going after self-accountability, you've got a goal in place, and you've been doing it. Going good for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe even you get into February, whatever. And then all of a sudden, life happens and you miss something. You miss a read. You don't get to a chapter until tomorrow. You fall off the wagon and just go scarf a bunch of whatever it is. You don't get that 1% better. That can be so damaging. That's where we jump back in our own way, like we talked about, and get in our own head and stop us from continuing on. That's what so many people have trouble with, going back to the gym or starting to eat healthy or doing one of these things. It goes great for a couple weeks. And then as soon as you miss it one time and don't make it or have a bad lift or have a bad game or whatever, you think, oh, well, I tried. No, that's why so many people fail with it, because as soon as they run into some resistance, as soon as they don't get that 1%, or really it's most of them that are looking for that 20% each day, the unfeed, you know what I mean? But so this is a realistic, if you are after that 1% better day and you miss it or you don't get it or something happens, that's okay from time to time. That's gonna happen. It's not ideal. We don't like it. It's not an easy excuse if you don't feel like doing it that day. That's not what I'm talking about. But if something happens where you miss it or you go against or you don't get that 1%, you gotta be able to get over it. You gotta let go, and you gotta go after that 1% tomorrow. If you can, it's feasible, you're at 100% capacity or whatever, and you can get 1.5%, awesome. If you only get 0.5% that next day because you're still working back to it, that's great.
I would like to propose a question for the people out there that try to jump ahead and get 20% better every day. Let me ask you this. If you're looking at getting 20% better every day, what do you do on day 6?
Ooh, it's a good question. I'm sorry.
I mean, like,
it's a great question.
Because, like, I sometimes deal with pressure, okay? Sometimes I don't. So my thing is, I couldn't put that kind of pressure on myself. And to your point, Curtis said here, or fall off the wagon and smoke too many cigarettes. Stop smoking, Curtis.
Or just out of sight, out of mind. See what happens
See?
when you tell your friends, we love you.
So, well, I think this right here, you got anything to add to that? So I was gonna say, if not, we can go into we can do the wind down here and let's talk about the,
Yes.
all the platforms and everything.
Did you cover, I know you mentioned your blogs. Do you have anything else to say about the new blogs on the website? You want to start there?
When it comes to blogs, guys, I wanna let you all know, I am trying to do at least one a week. I may get to the point where I'm doing them bi-weekly. I may get to the point where I'm putting out 2 a week or something. It's just really, I write the blogs whenever, and I have to be like this. It's like when the idea pops in my head, I better do it now and
Yes.
write it down and get
Yep.
it going, because otherwise it won't get finished.
Yep.
But we've had a couple of good ones here lately, so you guys check out the website for that. Another thing too, and again, this is a good, he put the no smoking emoji. So, first and foremost, website, damngoodaveragebowler.net. Check it out. I'll bring it up here so Dustin can see it. You guys can check out at home. So the biggest thing is you're gonna see shop Damn Good Average Bowler merch. Guys, I just want you to know, I appreciate every single person that's ever bought a hat, a beanie, a shirt. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's another thing that's helped get the brand going, promotion of the brand. Keep that going. Let's rock and roll with that. You can go to damngoodaveragebowler.net, click on the shop tab. It's going to bring you to the page itself. It's going to show you all kind of merchandise that we're selling. Shirts are $35, beanies are $35, hats are $35. It's all $35. Nothing more, nothing less. If you're out of state, free shipping is included. If you want to do free local pickup, that's also included. The shirts take 2.5 weeks to do. You see the shirt right here. This is a very good high quality shirt. I've washed this thing like 10 times now. It's still got the same. And I want to say thank you to April Preston for that. You rock, Purple Squirrel Productions. Hats and beanies, they're going to take about 1 to 1.5 weeks. I get those ordered. I take it down to Lids inside Parkway Place, and I have them embroider my logo. And again, any logo you want. If you want, like on a t-shirt, if you want the original, if you want 2.0, if you want the Pirate Halloween, if you want the Christmas Santa, if you want the lady, that's fine, let us know. So you'll see everything on the website. You'll scroll down to the bottom. And also we're doing stainless steel tumblers too, 16-ounce stainless steel tumblers for $20. Nice. There's an order form. The way it goes is fill out the order form. You're not charging anything. It's going to send me an email directly. It's going to give me your info. It's going to let me know everything you want. I'm going to contact you directly. I'm going to get the payment from you that way. And that's like as smooth as it can get. You hear me on the phone. You're not hearing anything automated. I believe in person to person. And I feel a lot better if I'm talking to somebody when I'm buying something, because it's a little, again, it goes back to accountability. So send that, whatever your merchandise is, again, hats, beanies, shirts, tumblers, check it out. Let me know what you think. There's another tab on there, the tournament tab. This gives you all the information about my sweepers, if we're the New Year's Eve stuff we do, like specialty tournaments, everything like that. And as Dustin mentioned earlier, we do also the blog. Another thing we also do, you guys know that I post ball review highlight videos. 2024 is going to be huge. I can't go into specifics, but I can tell you right now, you guys are going to like some of the upcoming releases as far as bowling balls go. You will see that as we get closer and closer to when Brunswick and Storm and Motive all decide they're going to make their announcements for the new stuff. It's going to be a great year. The latest video I did on our website is put on YouTube, the YouTube channel, is the new blue hammer. That was voted on by you guys. I did a poll. Everybody overwhelmingly picked new blue, and they knew that I wasn't going to want to do it, but I did it anyway because I'm a man of my word.
Would that be the NU?
That is the NU, the new blue hammer. And you know what new stands for? Not your thing. So check that out. And another tab I added on here too. I'm adding our episodes here. Podcast
awesome.
Episodes.
Yeah, dude.
I am adding those for you guys with the link to go back and watch previous episodes. And also, you can email me. You can get a hold of me on all the other social media outlets. We're on Facebook. That is www.facebook.com/the. You see it up here. The.damn.good.average.bowler. And we're also on Instagram. We are on YouTube, and we are on TikTok. And all of those you can get linked to off the website if you want to see stuff directly on all the content. So very big stuff going on. Dustin here is helping with the Instagram page. We're getting that going. That's kind of been my weakest aspect, and you have been a very big blessing in that, trying to get the Instagram algorithm going up for me. So I really do appreciate that, good sir.
We actually had, you're welcome, it's my pleasure, and we actually had Dan Good Average Bowler on CW a couple
Yes,
weeks ago.
yes we
So
did.
that'll be on my page, I know for sure, on my Instagram. I don't know if we have it over here yet, but we'll try to get it over here.
No, we will. We'll get the links and everything going. So check that out. And again, YouTube, again, my next goal, like I said, we're at 225 right now. The next goal is 300. So guys, share it out. Share it with your friends. Get them to subscribe. Hit the bell. Get the notification so you know when we're going live.
Did we start at 224?
Yes.
Are we at
Yes, we did. We're
225
at
now?
225 now. Appreciate that.
Yeah, on the website, I have to throw this in. I don't know if we talked about the name earlier, but so with the merchandise, there's plenty of Harry Beaver to go around. There's Harry Beaver over everything. You can get a little Harry wherever you want.
His name's Harry, guys. Don't get it twisted.
And the episodes, meant to cover this too, not that anybody really cares, but I'll say it for one person in case they ask. I'm normally in a suit, yes, you'll see it reminded me it was the 2 episodes on,
Yes.
on the website. But yeah, normally I'm in a bling and 3-piece, but just with the,
With everything that happened today, guys, this is like I always have a plan B. You have to be, and again, self-accountability
Yes.
will help you become better prepared and do more preparation.
yep, yeah, precisely. Thank you, buddy. That's what it feels like, huh? I feel like I just, and then you did it.
And this is why they hate when I do the group message with him and Curtis. They hate when I'm constantly going, hey, what are we doing? Hey, what are we doing? Again, it's the way to hold all of us accountable.
I don't mind it, I would tell you.
No, I'm
I
not.
would already block that thing and be like, shut up, leave me alone. No, I don't like it. I don't
I'm
mind
surprised Curtis hasn't done it.
it. I think he does just mute them though. Especially when we get
He
going back
hears so
and forth.
many noises, like with the buzzer going off and everything. It's probably ingrained in his
Yes.
brain. He just doesn't hear it.
My
I
computer
only
died.
hate it at 3 a.m.
That was last night probably. I didn't get to writing the agenda until about 1:30. Just thanks to I've been getting caught up on life since I came back from vacation.
Right.
My thing died over here.
Yep.
Did we have anything else? 'Cause
No.
I have one thing that I want to close with.
One
on the
final thought.
Accountability. Yep, closing
From Dustin
thoughts.
Caps.
Thank you. And also, if you have any ways that help to hold yourself accountable, share those with us. Let us know. I always love to learn new stuff. And it might not even be, hold this perspective too, learning new things. It may be like, well, that's not how I do it. Well, that's great. But if you know this other way to do it, then down the road, you never know who you'll be talking to. You can explain that way to them. And you can give that tool to somebody else. So you learn as many different ways as you can. It doesn't mean you have to do it that way. It just means you got more things, more tools, you know? The closing note actually is, I was thinking about this on the way in today, about self-accountability. And I think it's even more crucial than normal right now because there is such a lack of accountability in our society and world right now.
Yes.
There's no, and I don't think I'm speaking out of pocket here, there doesn't seem to be any accountability really anywhere, which I think is disgusting, it's sad, it's frustrating, it's a whole lot of things. It's ridiculous, is what it is, and I'll leave that at that, and saying really, we said it before, all we can do is hold ourselves accountable. There ain't nothing we can do about all that crap out there. We can notice it and be aware of it, you don't have to like it, but there's nothing you can particularly do about it right now, and I mean that in a general sense. If there's something, hey, do what you can do, right? But a lot of stuff we can't change.
And whatever you do, don't let anybody tell you that you can't.
Yes.
If you're determined, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
That goes in life in general, and that goes for bowling.
Yeah, I mean, Stan Lee, the freaking legend that he is, I just caught that reel of him the other day talking about how Spider-Man came to be. You familiar with that one?
Yeah.
Is he
They
got,
didn't like it.
no, he
They
got
did not like
laughed at.
Spider-Man.
He got laughed at, kicked out, I mean, made fun of, like, spiders are scary, nobody's gonna want a Spider-Man, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
And so I put it on the back burner, and then he's like, well, I wanna get this out of my system, and he chose to do it, and Spider-Man was on the cover, I don't remember what year, long time ago, but he just did it to do it, right? Let me just do this, get on my system, and then I'll see that it didn't work or whatever. Guess what, it stuck.
Yeah.
It stuck big time.
There's a lot of, again, y'all, I cannot stress this enough to you, whether it's you're trying to become a better bowler, or you're trying to improve 1% every day, or whatever it is you're doing, just start. Just start and get in a routine and get yourself you're going to be uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable, everybody. Like where I getting where I got, as I get, exactly, whatever. But where I got to out here and doing everything that I'm doing, I didn't get to this point by just sitting idly by and, watching somebody do what they're doing. I just said, my own identity, I'm going to do what I'm doing. Basically, and another thing that brings up into the book, in the 2 chapters I've read of Atomic Habits is you're not focusing on the goal. You're focusing on the process, and which is 1% better every day.
And enjoy the process.
Yes, exactly. Enjoy the process. Be happy with the process. And I don't think you can get by if anybody follows out here Gary Vee. Like you can't get by without him being so obnoxiously positive all the time. Like every single time he talks to a fan or somebody on one of his short reels on Instagram or anything like that, he literally says, "Yes, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you." And they'll tell him their story, and he'll sit there and go, well, his approach to it is like, why do you think that way? And one of the things that sticks out with me with Gary Vee is he'll look at you and go, and it's like he speaks through your soul, because he has to me. He's like, why do you care what they think?
Yes.
And I'm going to end my final note with this, and I'll let you close it out for us, okay? Again, back to wrestling. Triple H cut a promo. It was when Seth Rollins had the WWE World title in 2015, 2016, around that time. And Triple H, I think, said it best. He said, what's the matter with being successful? It's like if you're a millionaire, you're the most evil person in the world. And God forbid, if you're a billionaire, you're the Antichrist. Yeah. That sticks with me. And that's some of that stuff that really just helps push me every day to go out and try to be 1% better. So you guys can do it. I believe in you. You need more people, and to say what you said about accountability. I'm here to tell you guys you can start being accountable. Do it for you. Don't do it for me, him, anybody else in this world. Do it for you. Be accountable. That's what I'm doing. Self-accountability is for me. I'm doing it for what it can help me do to be a better person. And when I'm a better person, everybody around me gets better. And guess what? That makes me feel wonderful. That makes me feel great and excited about what's going to happen here in 2024. I am stoked. I'm done.
No, that's great. I do just have to show that I wrote for Gary Vee, because I love him too. I wrote failure with the heart.
Yes.
Because Gary Vee, I'm sure you can't see that. This is a chicken scratch I take. I love Gary Vee because he's got zero bullshit. Mm-hmm. There's zero filters and there's no bullshit, so you get the truth. Yep. And he gets past those smoke screens and excuses people put up. Why do you care about this? He's not asking why. Well, why? Well, why? Well, why? It's genuinely like, okay, well, why is that an issue for you? Why do you care what they think? Well, because I don't want blah, blah, and then you realize, we do this in recruiting a lot. You have to get through smoke screens. You get through people's bullshit that we all put up, us included, we're humans, we all put up loads of bullshit to protect ourselves.
And just so you guys know, the last 30 minutes of this podcast is rated MA.
I don't think we're rating too bad yet.
Just messing.
Yeah, because I've held back a lot. But no, he is fantastic, and he says fall in love with failure. That's why I put failure with a little heart. That is. I don't know how you kids do that.
And I don't understand, once again, is it real? Look, let's just call a spade here, okay? It sucks to fail.
Yes.
But I don't look at, this is how I choose to look at failure and losing. And I hope you guys will too, if you haven't done so already. Failure and losing is not failure and losing. It is education and it's opportunity. When you put that together, it's an educational opportunity. I just came up with that in my head.
I like it. Something else that I use that's similar to that, what I've always used, not always, but I mean for several years, and on my show and things like that, we talked about with the W and L columns. It's we win, and if we don't win, we didn't lose, we learned.
Thank you.
That's exactly what it was. Wins and losses, there's no losses unless you don't learn anything. Then you lost.
Yeah.
But if you did not win, you should be learning.
Right.
In anything. You know what I mean? And whether you're starting again in any aspect of life, you know, you're not starting from scratch in anything. Whether it's new career, new relationship, new sport, new goal, new whatever. You're not starting from scratch. You may be starting at the beginning of that, but you're starting with all of this experience you got. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Everything you've learned, apply that. You know what I mean? Stay, I don't want to tangent with this, but I was talking about it last night and I love this stuff. Just take on the aspect, the mentality of being a student of life.
Right.
Be willing to learn from anyone, anywhere, anytime. And that doesn't mean walking around from notebook like, hey, what can you teach me? What can you teach me? I'm not talking stupid stuff like that, but just being tuned into life around you. Dude, I've learned crazy stuff. I've run into random people at the grocery store. But we started talking about a watch. Like, hey man, I like that watch. I like that watch. What do you do? I do a podcast about this. Well, I'm a part of a think tank and blah, blah, blah. Those types of things. And you can learn, you can network, but you have to be open to it. And that comes practice. Practice with it. And you'll, anyway, you talk forever.
Give yourself a chance, everybody.
Yes.
We believe in you.
Yes, we do.
I believe in you.
For real. You know where we're at. Come find us. We'll tell you so.
So just before we end here, we'll let you guys know. So, in some of our upcoming episodes, Wes McElroy will be back here with us. There's no doubt about that. We'll let you guys know about that when we've got everything officially booked. And we're gonna have a couple other special guests too we're in the works with right now. Tony Churchy, just to give everybody a hint. So, but no, man, hey, great episode.
Yeah, bud.
Pleasure, my friend.
And we're also working on, I don't want to get too far ahead, but we've talked about it, we're working on getting outside people to tune in, like on the broadcast, like outside, we'll call them maybe regional pro? Is that the term?
Outside of the bowling community, we're trying to expand.
Outside of our alley here,
Yes.
but also like outside
Yes.
pros and things
Yes.
like that we'll bring in.
Absolutely.
So, if you have any connects, people on, let us know. Tell us anything. We monitor, we listen, we want to learn. So we get league tonight. Mike, why don't you tell us what the next Damn Good Average Bowler event is that we can look forward to, man?
Stay tuned. I won't confirm it completely, but stay tuned for potentially season 2 of the Hot Sauce Spare Challenge.
Ooh, I like that.
I've had people in my ear about wanting to participate, and you got to give the people what they want.
And I will have a blast commentating that. We also do the, I say we loosely, Mike's done it, designed and everything, but the Strike and Spare Derby, those have been going great. I've commentated most of those, and it's a blast. I love the commentary. So that's gonna be fun, man, talking smack to people with hot wings in their mouth.
Yes.
Especially if they just missed the split, I'm gonna let you know. I'm
And
just
then,
kidding.
no, actually, they used to spare like the 10 pin.
Oh, yeah,
Hey, Curtis, remember what happened when you missed the 10 pin?
I remember that. Curtis was so scared before he went into it. I remember that. That was fun. Love it.
All right, guys.
Well, hey, thank you very much. Yep, go on, bud.
No.
You want to close it out?
No. All you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today for episode 3 for the Damn Good Average podcast. I'm your host, Dustin Capps, and my Coach Michael Price. Thank you, and signing off from episode 3. We will see you soon. Freeze frame, so he turns them off.